All right. So then what makes the decision to get out of the late models, go back to the mini stocks?
Because that just came down to money. I mean, essentially, and time. You know, I work 60 hours a week, Monday to Friday, give or take.
Right.
And, you know, you got the family.
Amcom, is that where you work?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And, you know, you got the family, try to do family stuff, house stuff. And, you know, to work on the elite models, you know, I was a one-man show. I did it all myself. I'm in the shop by myself. I scale by myself, everything. So it just got to be a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just time to start winding that down, you know?
Do you still have, does Don still help you at all or no?
No,
so I know he's with Diego's crew, right?
Yeah.
He's basically doing that now?
Yeah, Donnie was with us the whole time we toured. He was the best. And, you know, kind of when I was in limbo there, he ended up talking to Diego and got in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just, you know, how that ended up.
It just happens, right? So I'm curious about this because we always talk about car counts. We'll probably debate it again tonight during the live show. If I know you're saying that the expense, and obviously that is a legit reason to pare down, but if the late models were drawn like 17, 18 cars and the minis were only drawn 7 or 8 cars, you think you'd think about it a little bit longer before you made that switch? Or?
Well, that's some of it too.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't justify the time and the money to go race one guy.
Yeah, right.
Or 2 guys when Brody showed up or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I had a great 2 years with Jason. It was awesome. But,
right.
You know, at some point it's like, how do you make any ground? If you're running for a championship, it's 1 point. You're just back and forth, you know?
Right.
It's
to that question that we're going to talk about later. Actually, we can probably revisit this. Is right. Even if Jason has a flat tire,
he finishes 9th. I come back out 6 points.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't.
It's a little bit different because I always thought you guys had a little bit of like the Timmy Bruce thing where you guys were like really the only show in a weak car count. Mm-hmm. But out of Bruce and Timmy came Jeff Smith and then Dylan Moltz and then Rocco came and then like there was never really a lot of cars, but there was some really good late model racing.
Right.
And I think you're right. Like Brody would show up, but he never really raced that regularly. Mm-mm. And then it was, you know, there was no growth out of it. It didn't become anything. And now here we are, and you and Brody still don't race in that division. And it's kind of like when Jason shows up, he's gonna win.
Right.
It kind of sucks.
They've always been like that, and I don't really know the reason for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have opinions on it. You know, it's modified country.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same expenses to run a late model as it is to run an SK Light, I would think. So anybody with that kind of money around here is running an SK Light.
True.
Or higher. You know what I'm saying?
But you know the weird thing with that is, though, right? So you go to Seekonk, right? They have 17. And then you go to, if you go to Stafford, and they have SK Lights, right? Where's my Stafford freaking... Do I not have it on here? Oh, yeah, here we go. So Stafford has SK Lights, and they have, between the late models and limited late models, they had 32 cars.
Right.
15 and 17.
Same chassis, though. They're all metric cars.
Yeah, right.
You know, so even, you can build a streeter and run that same car. Right. Look at Chris Meyer, right? That was a street stock. Now he's a late model.
Yeah, we kind of learned that when he came in here and talked to us. Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
they kind of have that.
They got that.
That ladder system's down. Yeah. So talk about going back to the minis. How different are the mini stocks now than when you left?
No different.
They're not different?
I mean, they look different. You got a little more car.
Yours doesn't look like a Ford Mustang. I know that.
Well, mine's a newer gen. Mine's a 95.
Yeah.
So it's the newer style. But, yeah, I put the same package in that car that I ran in 2012.
Really?
You know, it's the same. I mean, give or take.
Yeah.
But, what got that all going was when I ran Soup's race.
Yep.
You know, that was I was in limbo with the late model stuff. I wasn't really showing up much anymore, and I ran that and had a ball.
Yeah.
Started like 12th and drove up through. I had a blast, and it didn't cost me an arm and a leg to do it.
Right.
And I said,
I never really knew Soup. I came a little late to really know who he was, but I clearly realized the impact he had. So can you explain to me?
He's the best.
Yeah, like I don't know Soup. I never really got to know him. So what was his impact at Waterford and to so many people at the track?
He's just the guy that would, give you the shirt off his back. I mean, he was always happy, just always personable and He's wanting to help out, and he was just there to have a good time.
Right.
You know,
it's kind of like what you were saying, how it was like a fraternity kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like he embodied that. You know, Cassidy brought a lot of that. You know, and that whole thing of like, let's just go to the track as our extended family. And Soup would get fired up if he thought you did him wrong. I have that famous scene where he wanted to rip
six
David,
laps.
Yeah,
6 laps.
Dave Trudeau. He wanted
Yeah.
to tune him up, but for the most part, like he came there to have a good time. He was just like the perfect Speedbowl competitor. He was everything that when people say, "Oh, the Speedbowl's different. It's a family it's a family track. It's laid back." Like all of that to me is Soup. That's what what his personality was.
Yeah.
He was just
He would say that all the time. He just wants to go drink a couple beers and watch his car go around. That was it. He didn't care. Bring me back the steering wheel. We'll fix it. He don't care.
Yeah. So
which I did a lot.
I believe it. Because when you won your first race this year, the first thing you did was you smacked the roof because that's where you have the Soup Savardi decal, and I could really see how much that meant to you.
Yeah.
To get.
Well, he
that
was my
victory.
stepdad for like 11 years too. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was just going to ask you. I didn't think you knew that. Yeah,
I don't know the connection.
So that was the connection. Was he had married my mom, and that's what got me into racing. You know?
No kidding.
Yeah, I was super late to the party. I was 12, 13 before I even like.
Imagine that being super late.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't drive anything until I was 16, 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I never did anything.
So what's your favorite division to race? Or favorite car to drive?
Favorite car to drive is a pro stock or a pro late. I mean, it's just, there's nothing like it. Everything is great. Great brakes, great tires, great shocks, everything. Great horsepower. But the best racing is hands down the minis.
Yep.
Hands down. I mean, we were talking earlier, and I'd run 3 Oxford 250s, you know?
Right.
For 200 of those laps, you're just driving around.
Yep.
And then you're pitting for tires, you know?
Mini stocks, it's
you're up on it.
all out.
Go get it. Yeah.